Hello, hello, hello. It's Friday, therefore it's apologetics. Today I want to start a new subject. I want to approach the resurrection of Christ from a historical philosophical perspective, although the Bible will be taken into consideration. So there was a historian who gathered some data, and these are things that apparently most scholars think is true about the events surrounding the resurrection or the birth of Christianity, shall I say. So they know that Christ was crucified by the Romans, that he was buried, probably in a private tomb. Shortly after his death, the disciples lost all hope and they fled. They were all over the place. The tomb, shortly after the death of Jesus, was found to be empty. The disciples thought that they met the resurrected Christ, which completely changed them. They believed in the event so much so that they were even ready to die. The disseminating the information about the resurrection started really early in the history of the church, and it started in Jerusalem. The spreading the gospel news was built on the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Usually they gathered on the day of Sunday, and the reason they gathered usually on the Sunday was because that was the day their Savior resurrected. Jacob, or in English actually they call it James, but in the original it's Jacob. He was the brother of Jesus. He was a skeptic, but he became a follower of Christ. And even if you look at the Bible, there are Bible verses, and I don't remember which gospel it is in, but James ridiculed Christ, and even Christ said that only in his own hometown a prophet is without that honor, saying that he couldn't do any miracles there because people laughed at him, people rejected him. A couple of years later, Saul, more commonly known as the Apostle Paul, because Christ changed his name into the Apostle Paul, he was persecuting Christians, but he became a follower of Christ because he thought he met the resurrected Christ. See, the New Testament is not a legend. Even if you remember as far back as when I started the teaching the Gospel of John, when we are talking about the genre of the Gospels, the genre of the Gospels is biographies, ancient Greek-Roman biographies, and the manuscript actually came into existence or were written down within two generations within the events, within two generations of the events, by eyewitnesses or by contemporaries of Christ. And it's really interesting because I listened to a debate once, and there was a mention of it. Somebody mentioned that if you want to do digging around Jerusalem and you're looking to get it financed, you will not get the finance if you do not consider taking the four Gospels and the Acts of the Apostles with you, because it's so accurate historically, geographically, topographically, political events, famous people, even the deaths of the sea, even the price of a camel, I don't know, they're all mentioned in the Bible, and skeptics don't know what to do about it. Because imagine you have a biography, you have a historically extremely accurate biography, and at the same time you read things like people getting resurrected or there's demons in it, and they just don't know what to do with it because it doesn't fit the genre, it doesn't fit the accuracy of the book, yet you have these things in it. And if you think it's a lot of time to have two generations between the events and them getting written down, it still couldn't be a legend because I remember reading upon it that when I read about it somewhere that it takes more than two generations. It takes many generations for legends to form, because first you need all the eyewitnesses to die. You need Chinese whisper. You need sort of a many people to talk about it before it starts transforming. And the other thing is, I know people are using Chinese whisper as an example, but the thing about it is, back in the days, ancient people had amazing memory. It wasn't like ours. Because I don't remember who it was, but it might have been Plato, who said that he didn't trust in written documents. And the reason he didn't trust written documents was that he thought that they could be changed, but he thought that he actually trusted people's memory more. And the way they did it, I remember reading upon it, it's called memory castle. So what people do is they make up a castle or your room or a route, something that you know very well in their brain, and each station, each object, they assign a picture to it, and they use it as a trigger to trigger the memory. So they know exactly what it is they have to remember, and they also remember the sequence of the events. That's what they do. That's how apparently ancient people used to remember. That's how people who can remember a deck of cards, they can memorize a deck of cards, the sequence of a deck of cards within less than a minute. That's how they do it. They assign certain images to certain objects or certain places within their memory castle. Anyway, we shall continue next week. Bye.